Hi guys, welcome to another video. I just thought I'd do a quick one. I was digging out my hi-fi equipment today and I realised I hadn't done one before on this particular product. So I've just been digging out the back, cleaning out the dust, making sure it doesn't get into my kit and doesn't get into the vents and cause any damage. Unfortunately, it's been quite a hot, well, fortunately it's been quite a hot summer, so I've had the windows open, loads of dusts come into the room. So I've got a dust extractor, but you know, even still settling all over my equipment. But nevertheless, I'll get onto the video. So just playing out the kit equipment, I thought I hadn't done a video on the Emotiva BasX, which is a 5-channel amplifier. Mine's the A500. It powers my height speakers. So I've got 4 Gallo Adiva SEs. They retail at £350 each. I think about $450. And they're 4 ohms. They're quite hard to drive. My Arcam struggled to drive them on their own. Well, struggled to get the most out of them. I struggled to get all the depth and the range and the control that I was looking for out of the speakers of such quality, just because they're hard to drive, being 4 ohms. So anyway, I invested in the Emotiva BasX A500. Give that a go for a while. I've had it about a year now. So it's been really well run in. Really impressed with it so far. It's got a 5-channel amplifier. It gives you 190 watts into 4 ohms or 110 watts into 8 ohms. So it's a powerful bit of kit. That's across all 5 channels. They originally designed it for a 5.1 system. Obviously not powering the subwoofer, but powering the 5 speakers, front left, front right, front left, center, and then the 2 surround sound speakers at the back. But it's got a screen on the front with all the channels on when you turn it on. Obviously it's not lit up right now. Screen on the front, you can turn that off. There's a switch on the back to turn the LEDs off. There's a standby on button on the front, but other than that, it's a nice clean design. I'll show you in a second a bit closer, but it's a nice brushed stainless steel design. Really hard, heavy duty, nice and solid. You know, nice clean finish to it, but quite a mean bit of kit. You know, it looks powerful and looks posed and poised. You know, so I'll spin it around the back. It's got obviously on the front. It's got the A500 and the BasX imaging on the front, but it's quite a deep amplifier. So you're talking probably 40 centimeters deep. It also weighs an absolute ton. So talking about at least 12 kilos, I reckon. Just from lifting it there. It's got 5 channels, each one obviously taking a phono input, so it's an analog input, of course, and then you've got the speaker terminal output to directly drive the speakers. These take bare wire, or they take banana plugs straight into the back. Obviously, I think banana plugs are slightly better because they give you that strength of connection. It's a solid connection, reduces the oxidation of the speaker cable as well, especially if they're the crimped banana plugs. So that's the 5 terminals across the back, 5 channels, all of which you've the 190 watts or the 110 watts depending on the speaker resistance. There's the LED switch I was talking about, and it also passes through a trigger, so you can trigger it on from the main home cinema amplifier. So with the press of one button, it will boot up both amplifiers to save you having to have several different remotes, which is obviously really useful. And then you've got the master, the main on-off switch, the main power switch for the AC supply. In the UK, it's just a 2-pin kettle lead, power-wise. But yeah, it's just a nice smart bit of kit. I'll zoom in a second for you and show you the video and try and get the finish on the front as well. The finish doesn't pick up too well on the camera because of the light and the black paint and brushed aluminium finish, but I'll try and get it on the camera for you. Right, I'm trying to give you an idea of the finish. It kind of, on the camera, it kind of looks almost like a tiger print, but it really isn't. It's just like a brushed aluminium finish, but I think it looks really smart. It's just, proper quality, solid piece of metal across the front. It just feels like a really well built piece of kit. Obviously, you've got the bumpers on the front as well to stop any scuffing or knocking from anything like that. The screen fires up from the front as well. You've got the Emotiva logo and branding across the front. and the standby on button there, the A500 imagery, and the BasX logoing as well. I'm just trying to give you an idea of the depth of the product. It's just so deep. I mean, you're gonna have to be careful on your hi-fi rack if you've only got a shallow one. I mean, this is quite obviously quite an archaic method of measuring it, but I mean, this is a 30cm ruler. So I mean, we're talking probably 40cm depth-wise. It's just a big bit of kit. Got a big toroidal transformer inside, and then you can just about see the amplification in the back, in the circuitry. There's a huge power pack there. And I'll spin it around so you can see the back. There you go, you can see a bit more detail now. So obviously you've got the LED status lights, the trigger, the 12-volt trigger, input. I think it passes through as well, so you can do another product. I don't know if you could trigger a subwoofer through it or something like that. Obviously you're not going to run the subwoofer off the module, but if you've only got one trigger output on your hi-fi AV amplifier, you could obviously pass the trigger through into the sub, bypassing this. So then you've got the channels, the big 5 channels across the back, with the phono input left and right, obviously left and right pair, left and right, and then obviously a center speaker if you were to do it like that. And you've got the big AC power switch as well on the back. So 115 volts or 230 volts. So obviously it can be used in the UK, US, Australia, or in Europe. So last few questions to kind of wrap up the video. First of all, why would you buy one? Kind of 2 reasons. One, if you feel like you're not getting enough out of your speakers at the moment. So if you've got speakers that are quite hard to drive, or your amplifier hasn't got a huge amount of amplification, this is really going to open the speakers up. It's going to make them free, more open, more dynamic. They're going to get a huge amount more power to them. They're going to be driven so more easily. They're a lot more fluid, especially if you're using sealed cabinet speakers that are harder to drive, like my little Gallows, which I'll show you in another video. Or I'm trying to think of some of the other sealed cabinet. I think there's a few Q series sealed cabinet speakers, slightly harder to drive. So that'll open those up. And the second reason, obviously, if the main hi-fi AV amplifier is not driving the speakers, it's going to take the weight off of that. So now all of a sudden you'll notice your hi-fi amplifier, whichever speakers it's left driving, whether that be just the center speaker or just the front speakers, it's going to be a huge amount more open. It's now got more power per channel, because obviously it's not got the whole amount of power it can output divided by the number of channels. It's got less chance to drive, it's got more power to each channel. So the speakers that the amplifier is left driving, they're going to really open up as well. They're going to sound a lot more free, and less work for the AV amplifier means it's got more ability and processing power to process the video and the sound of the speakers, and control over the speakers, and control over the output to the speakers, even if that control over the output is getting passed through this. Better output from the main home cinema amplifier means better quality to the speakers and better quality through that amplifier. So that's going to sound better in itself. It starts off, I think in the UK it was about $699. In the US I think it was about £800 possibly, $800 possibly. But definitely worth it as a bit of kit. Few things to note. I have been told before you're best off not putting your center speaker through a power amp. I don't know if it's something to do with the fact that obviously the center speaker is handling most of the vocab through films, it's handling most of the speech, because the speech is coming directly at you generally through when you're watching the film. So I'm not sure if they recommend, due to maybe like lip sync and stuff like that, or just quality of the dialogue, it's harder to perform dialogue. Maybe you shouldn't be passing it through a power amp. Maybe it should be coming direct at the main amplifier to reduce that kind of lag and the number of cables it's going through, the number of amplifiers it's going through. So it comes out, you know, nice and direct. The other thing to note is it weighs a lot. So if you're a bit worried, but if you're using a glass cabinet, I'd be a bit worried. It's quite heavy. Heat-wise, it doesn't get too hot, to be fair. It's got huge vents on the top. It's got a huge heat sink. I've not had a problem with it getting too hot. I have had actually a CD player on top of it for a while as well. It didn't, even then, obviously it had legs on, feet on, so it had ventilation, but even then it didn't get too hot. Obviously if you're driving floor standards with it, it's probably going to get hotter. The only other thing to note is the depth. Like I showed you in the video, it's really deep, so it's going to sit quite a way back into your cabinet, so you have to be a bit careful with the depth of the cabinet if you're looking at putting it on the cabinet. But other than that, it's a fantastic bit of kit. It's really going to help you get the most out of your speakers. I just used it for my Atmos speakers, but you know, you could use it for the fronts and surround sound. I think you notice a huge difference, and you'd notice your home cinema amplifier, you know, having less work to do. I think you notice the quality there improving too. But if you have any questions, drop them down in the comments. Other than that, I'd probably say it's a solid 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 piece of kit. Definitely worth the investment. Really opens up the whole system. But if you can like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. If you've got any recommendations or there's anything else you want me to review, give me a shout. But yeah, hope you're all well. Enjoyed the video. But yeah, much love. Cheers. Thank you.